Today on Period 5, we're talking with Ahmed Ismail Tahir, a teen tech entrepreneur whose work spans hardware, software, and social impact. Ahmed is the founder of Parvana, a student-led nonprofit turning e-waste into functional tech labs for under-resourced schools. His team has already set up a working computer lab serving 100 plus students and is now building a nationwide donation network. He's also the founder of Hibiskeys, a custom mechanical keyboard company that grew from a passion project into a multi-million rupee venture, along with Blurty AI, an AI-powered language learning platform. On top of that, he's competed in cybersecurity, built award-winning astrophysics tools, and interned at the High Commission for Pakistan, digitizing real visa systems, all while still in school. Today we'll get to know how he built these projects, what drives him, and how he thinks about using technology to solve real problems. And so before we get into your projects, can you start by introducing yourself and share how your interest in tech first started?
Yeah, so my name is Ahmed. I'm from Pakistan. And currently I'm studying in the second year of IB, so IB DP2, that's 12 for all of our international viewers. So my interest in technology started when I was like really young. And for some reason, I really wanted to get a laptop back then. So I remember when I was in the US, I used to sit with this friend from school and we used to fantasize building it. So we would like list out all of these parts on a piece of pad and then like compare all of our builds together. So that was my interest back then. When I came back to Pakistan from the US, I wanted to actually make that a reality. So I wanted to get a computer, but those were like really expensive at that time. So what I did was I sold my Xbox. Then with that money, I went on a hunt around town and we got the parts. I built my first computer. It didn't turn on. So I spent like the whole night debugging it, fixing problems, going to some random posts on Stack Overflow, trying to find the solution. And then when I first had that computer turned on, so it's like something magical came into being and I was like really interested. So then I had this idea on why don't I sell this completely full built computer and another one. So I went through the whole thing again and again. So that's where I got this like business starting, a side hustle of selling computers when I was like around 10 or 11 years old at that time. I think this was like 4 or 5 years back in 2020 or 2021. Then once it turned into like something really big with selling keyboards from like just computers as a side hustle was when I was like in India. And then I discovered like they had this whole custom keyboard community there. So I was building keyboards in my room all day, and one day I just decided to share in the communities back in Pakistan. So I shared my keyboard build, which was like not that great looking back on it, but a lot of people were really interested in it. And then one person came up to me. He said that I have this issue with my hands where I can't type with like straight hands. So there's like special keyboards called orthogonal custom keyboards. They're like split in the middle and they're like tilted. So it's like better for people with RSI, which is repetitive strain injury. So he came up to me. He said that I have a lot of money. I can wait as long as you want. Just build me this keyboard at the end of the year, for example. So I was like, okay, I have no clue what I'm doing. And I just took him up on his offer because, something really spoke out to me. I was like really curious. Am I going to be able to build this like very weird keyboard I haven't even heard of in my lifetime? So I built that. It took me a whole year. And it was like really hard because I had to source parts from like Germany, from China. This is like really niche. So it took me a whole year to do that. I delivered it and he was like really happy. From that point on, I started, reaching out to people more and sharing more of my keyboard builds. And that's like Hibiskeys came into light. And I scaled that from like a side hustle to an actual like national level business.
So one thing I wanted to ask you is that you lived and studied in both India, Pakistan, and also the US you just mentioned, right? So how have these international experiences shaped the way you approach your work?
That's a really good question. And so living in Pakistan, you study in the schools in Pakistan, they're more like about rote memorization. How good you can use your memory to, answer those questions on paper. But once I went to like one of the most elite schools in India, since most of the diplomats kids studied in that school. So there the knowledge is supposed to be more conceptual. Plus, I felt like the environment was like really hyper competitive, with all of these kids just having really huge projects. I mean, I talked about my projects like Hibiskeys and Parvana. Those projects would scale like really minuscule compared to theirs. So I feel like going to that environment from Pakistan to India really shaped how I approached my standards of work. So if something I was sufficiently happy with getting an A on a test paper, now I'm like, that's just normal for me. So I think that change in mindset was something that was like really monumental once I studied there for 3 years. And even when I went to the US, so I studied in the US in 6th grade. That was like when I first encountered what like out of rote memorization conceptual learning looks like and hands-on learning looks like in their classrooms. It like sparked my curiosity about self self initiative, looking up things, being more curious about that intellectual curiosity, I think. So those two experiences really changed the way how I approach my work today in my initiatives as well.
So for listeners who might be new to it, what exactly is Parvana and what gap are you trying to fill?
Okay, so Parvana is a passion-built social impact project which aims to help fix or bridge the digital divide between underprivileged and privileged schools by recycling e-waste in our communities to build computer labs for these children and provide them digital learning resources. So it's mainly about tackling this issue with the two birds with one stone philosophy, where I'm also reducing the amount of e-waste in our communities whilst also bridging the digital divide. So that's the idea for Parvana came from when I was a kid, and I really loved building computers, and I was like really hands-on. And there's this like concept of optimization and efficiency that I'm like really obsessed with. So whenever I built a new computer, I remember I used to overclock it to the brim, like just to get like the maximum performance out of it. So I think that mindset really made me think how I can use the scarce amount of resources in my community and help them fix a problem that is like really huge, because especially with a lot of digital societies nowadays and artificial intelligence you have coming on, if you look at these communities, they don't even know how to use a computer, and so you're feeling like they're gonna be left behind. Like in 20-30 years the whole world is gonna be transforming it. They're gonna step out into a world that they don't recognize.
So your project Parvana, like how you used recycled e-waste to make these products for underprivileged students, it reminds me also of when I talked to Sammy Vance actually a few months ago, and she also talked about how she used recycled bottle caps to make benches inspired by problems she faced in her own life. So you can check out that video in the Purified playlist. And moving back to your project, Ahmed, was there a moment that this idea of Parvana first clicked for you, when it just first made sense?
So that's a really good question. And this idea of Parvana, I think it first clicked like really well for me was when I visited Pakistan from India. So we had to visit for a family event, and I had to visit like my old village, where my father graduated from actually. So once I went back there, I took a trip to the local school there, and I just saw like it was really like in contrast to my school in India. It just like broke my heart to see all that they just didn't have anything at all. And my idea clicked for me was when I thought like what made me into the person I am today, like what made me passionate about computers and technology in general. And that's when I thought it's because I had access to a computer when I was like a kid. So if they don't have these opportunities, then they're not going to be able to become a person like I became. So that's when it really clicked for me that I really want to start Parvana and make it big.
How did you feel when that first lab was installed at the school? What stood out to you about the experience?
So when the first lab was installed, it was actually an outreach event in India. So it wasn't in Pakistan, actually, it was in India. So when we installed that first lab, it was actually like a really monumental experience. It's like you have this idea in your head, and just to take it and do something, even if it's like very small. Since our first school wasn't like a really big school, but even it's like very small, you just feel, that you've actually accomplished something. So I think the main feeling about that is that you feel validated that your idea does work. You feel validated that your effort does amount to something in this world. So I think that's one of the most important movements for me, like in my project.
So Parvana is now scaling beyond one lab. So what does growth look like for you this year? You mentioned that you're going to be working in the winter break. So how exactly are you hoping to make this bigger?
So we're planning to install a bigger lab at this point. I think we're aiming for about more than 20 computers, which would be able to sustain a school of about 10 to 12 grades, especially if we segregate the classroom and usage. So what growth is looking out for me this year is I actually want to apply for some grant funds as well, since I feel like my project is sustainable enough that I'm not going to waste that money, especially since after building so many businesses, I know how to use money well. So I think applying to all those grants is going to be on our checklist. Especially there are a few grants from a lot of international organizations. There's this one grant from the IB that happens every year. It's called the Global Youth Action Fund. So I'm going to be mainly applying for that. And after our computer lab is built, our first like major project, I'm going to be creating a volunteer network throughout all the major cities and trying to get people to actually start becoming a partner of Parvana and starting this impact in their like underprivileged schools around their communities. And we ideally want to get some coverage nationally as well, because I don't want to just like do it on the sidelines. I actually want to inspire people nationally by proving to them, see, hey, I'm a teenager, I'm studying in high school, so you can do it as well. I want to inspire people that they have a unique set of skills, they have a unique set of opportunities, they have privilege that they can actually use to create impact in their communities, whichever way they want. It doesn't necessarily have to be e-waste, it doesn't necessarily have to be food drives. It can be something like really unique to you, because as we all have problems in our lives, and the solutions that we make for those problems are eventually shaped by our own self-understanding and feeling about it. So I think that's going to be my vision for Parvana going into 2026.
So how do you keep school, multiple projects, and everything else from becoming overwhelming?
So I get asked this question a lot of times, especially in my school. People call me, oh, he's such a businessman. You're probably studying like 24/7, since I have good grades as well. So I think the number one challenge for me was to convince my parents that I can handle it with school. And I had to just prove it to them that I can juggle all of these things at once and it won't depreciate my school quality. But now, like going into the IB, what I felt was I don't even need to study anymore, because half of my projects pertain to my major. So for example, computer science, I'm building all of these websites on the side. So my knowledge is like already way beyond what my subject actually demands me to do in high school. And I think that's going to be a really common theme with a lot of people who are actually building all of these businesses, because it teaches you like real world applications of the knowledge. It teaches you to think, it teaches you to have intuition, to have reasoning behind all of the decisions that you're making in the real world. What that tells you is it's not about the difficulty of the coursework in school, it's rather about how one person is like explicitly going beyond the classroom to learn that material. What I found was that if you do something that you love, that you genuinely do with passion, you'll always find time for it. So for Hibiskeys, it is fun for me to do it. It is fun for me to come back from school and my relaxing time is building a keyboard for 3 hours. And if I'm sending that to a client, then that actually makes it even better, because that means I'll get more keyboard resources to build even more keyboards. So it becomes like a cycle in your life that once you do things you love, you'll always find time to do them anywhere, everywhere. So I think that's how I juggle it. I don't have a strict regime or a strict schedule which I follow. And I think it's just like how I go with the flow and how I just enjoy the journey.
So, what's one piece of advice you'd give to a teenager who wants to start building but doesn't know where to begin?
This is something I was actually discussing with a lot of people the other day. Is I know everybody has great ideas, but the greatest ideas are something which is troubling you in your life. So if you're building a website, you're going to be constantly thinking, oh, is this what I want? Is this feature what I want? But if you're building the product for yourself, you realize you're the market, you're the consumer. If you're the consumer, you understand the problem perfectly. If you understand the problem perfectly, you're going to be able to solve the problem perfectly as well. So I think that is the number one piece of advice I would give to somebody who doesn't know where to start, is just to solve a problem in their lives. In fact, my first product for a real organization was for my previous school. We built a carpooling app, and it was because we had this like really horrible traffic outside our school every day in the mornings and evenings. We were just so tired of it, and it created so much pollution as well on the side. So we just decided to go up to the school and say, we're going to build a carpooling app for you. Are you in or are you out? So they really believed in us, and that was actually the first website I made as well.
To end on a lighter note, we're going to do a rapid fire round. Short questions, very fast answers, whatever comes to your mind first, okay? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. One tech skill every teen should learn.
Web development.
What's your favorite type of mechanical keyboard? Clicky, tactile, or linear?
Linear.
Go-to snack during long coding sessions.
I would have to say chocolate.
Best programming language to start with in 2026.
Python.
If tech disappeared tomorrow, what would you do instead?
I would probably become a farmer.
Mac, Windows, or Linux?
Linux. 100% Linux.
And finally, describe yourself in 3 words.
Curious, intellectual, and hungry.
So Ahmed, thank you so much for joining me today. Your journey shows how far curiosity and consistent effort can go, whether it's building a tech lab from recycled machines or turning a hobby into a real business. So for everyone listening, I hope this episode reminds you that you don't need perfect conditions to start something. You just need a problem that you yourself face, that you care about, and a willingness to take the first step. So stay tuned for more conversations with teen changemakers around the world on Period 5, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye, everyone.